Welcome back to In the Slant. I would ask these guys how they're doing today, but I'm going to be honest with you boys. I just don't care. There's just so much going on today. A lot of news came out today. We got a lot to talk about, so let's just jump right into it. Russell Wilson, start the show off, traded to the Denver Broncos out of left field today. The trade package was 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a 5th-rounder, Drew Lock, Noah Fant, and Shelby Harris over the Seahawks for Russell Wilson. And I believe they also got a 4th-round pick, so... Russell Wilson's in Denver now.
It was very left field because, I mean, after you heard about Washington Commanders offering some picks for him, they said that they weren't interested in trading him. Literally, when I was on my phone earlier today and I'm like playing video games and I see that Russell Wilson gets traded to the Broncos, I'm like, I thought that he wasn't even on the market. But now the Broncos got Russell Wilson coming into a very hard division, playing Derek Carr twice a year, Justin Herbert twice a year, and Patrick Mahomes twice a year. So if you're a fan of the AFC West, you better be ready to see your team play 6 tough games a year, and we'll just see how it dukes out, and we'll probably see, hopefully, 3 AFC West teams go to the playoffs next year.
Yeah, I definitely think that both teams definitely won this trade. Broncos, getting Russell, getting a veteran quarterback in, finally, after struggling so bad, after Peyton left, and trying to find, a good young quarterback to kind of try to take over the reins and try to, drive that team to a playoff game and even possibly a Super Bowl,
Drew Lock never got it done.
Yeah, he never got it done, and now he'll be going to Seattle in that trade, and I think Seattle got a pretty good deal out of that trade. 2 first-rounders on top of what they have now, and then even getting Lock in, probably have him competing for that QB position. And
Drew Lock?
Drew Lock, yeah.
You said Lockett.
Anyway, and then, Fant coming in and being a young tight end that, honestly, he just looks promising. The only thing I think that he's really been faulted on is, his injuries, and then on top of not having, a good quarterback, which, unfortunately, that problem will possibly follow him over to Seattle.
Yeah.
So hopefully that doesn't mess with his development. Hopefully he still shows that he is a very, very good tight end 1.
No, I can agree with Skylar here on this trade. I think both teams won there. A lot of people might look at Drew Lock and think Seattle didn't really win, but they did get 2 first-round picks. Who knows what they do with that? Hopefully, draft a quarterback if Drew Lock doesn't work out. But with the Broncos, they brought in Russell. Obviously, that's a big win for them. That young wide receiver core they got out there is pretty slick. I think it's pretty nice. And I hope for the Broncos they can get themselves a chip because I really do like that team.
Yeah, it's really stacked. And the whole division is just really good. It's going to be awesome to watch.
I am sad today. Washington was in on Russell Wilson, didn't get him, and we struck out again. But regardless, the Broncos got themselves a good quarterback to compete in that division. That division is going to be crazy now. Going to be watching probably every single game of that division if possible. So, but as far as what the Seattle Seahawks got in return, I don't love the Shelby Harris addition. He's 30 years old, going to be an unrestricted free agent next year, I believe. And then Noah Fant is cool. He could become something over there in Seattle. And, of course, they got the 9th pick overall. So I would imagine what's going to happen is Drew Lock is going to be the starter day 1. Or it'll probably be a competition, but maybe Drew Lock starts on day 1. And then whoever they draft, whether it's Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett or whatever they get at number 9, depending if those 2 are available, depends how the draft goes. And we'll see who becomes a starter there. And Seattle Seahawks probably be rebuilding for a while. It'd be interesting to see if DK and Tyler Lockett stick around for that rebuild as well.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
What about Pete Carroll? Do you think he just wants to go into full rebuild? I mean, Pete Carroll is one of those guys that he just likes winning every year. I mean, the Seahawks have been always a solid team. I mean, especially in the last 7, 8 years, they've always been able to compete. So, I mean, I think that they might do a full rebuild, but I think they could still get back on track and make a play even with a younger quarterback. I mean, they still need to improve that O-line for sure. They need to put some picks in that. Probably should get a new quarterback, like Brady said. So, I mean, I think they could still compete any day, but I just got to see how Pete Carroll is and how that team can mesh together and perform with that.
Yeah, Pete Carroll's a really good coach. He's really good. So, and with how the weapons are sitting now with Lockett and DK, and then also adding Fant into the mix as a tight end, whatever quarterback comes into there.
They still have Chris Carson.
Yeah, they still have some good running game.
Penny.
So whoever comes in as a quarterback, I mean, he has probably the best. Not one of the best offenses, but he's definitely got a really good offense to come in and try to develop. So,
yeah, I mean, I think for Pete Carroll, I think it'll depend on how good the team performs. If it depends how the quarterback coming in performs. I would imagine they're drafting quarterback number 9. If they're not, then I would be shocked. Maybe they just believe in Drew Lock that much, but I doubt it. But it depends who comes in. Obviously, if Malik Willis came in and was just really good right away, that would probably change some things. But if the quarterback doesn't go so well, I assume Pete Carroll would have eventually get fired. I think he's like over 70 or something like that. So.
I can see him retiring.
Yeah,
for
retire.
sure,
I mean, if he gets
doesn't pan
fired, I'm sure he would probably. I mean, he could go coach another team, I guess. But I don't know if Pete Carroll will be there forever. But we'll see. Maybe he retires there. It depends on the quarterback coming in. Maybe Drew Lock's a stud and becomes a stud in Seattle. We've seen it before. Ryan Tannehill never worked out in Miami. Came decent with Tennessee. They've had. I mean, he has a good team around him. But regardless, we'll see how it goes, man. So Russell, that division's gonna be crazy though. I mean, which one do you think one of those teams, like which one? What if you had to make a bet right now? Which I don't want me to put you guys on the spot. I mean, I think 4 teams could technically make the playoffs, but if you had to choose one not making it right now, who would you choose?
Dustin, I'm sorry, but the Raiders. Hey,
Oof. It's tough. It would either be Raiders or Broncos because with the cap space of the Chargers, how much they can add to that team right now, and then with the Chiefs, going off in AFC championships and being, that team in the AFC, I mean, they're going to battle. And it is going to be a really fun season for that division.
I can't bet against the Chiefs. They would be a lock for me making the playoffs. I mean, obviously, this is injuries could play a factor as well. That's something that always hurts players every year. But I would say Chiefs definitely. And then after that, it gets really tough. I mean, I feel like we'll get 3 teams out of the division in the playoffs. But if I was a betting man right now, I would hate to say it, but I would probably choose Raiders not making it as well. But I don't mean to hate. I don't mean to hate because we still have a whole free agency, still have a whole draft. So things could change. But if I was a betting man right now, I would say that the Raiders are the team on the outside looking in, but I could be wrong.
I feel like a hatch between the Broncos and the Raiders on who's going to be the odd man out. I'm not saying because it seems like the Chargers every year they just end up choking somehow.
That is true.
They have a lot of cap space this year though. So hopefully, I think the most cap space in the NFL going into this offseason. So hopefully they can make some big signs and turn that team around and actually make the playoffs with Justin Herbert because everyone knows that he's a stud. But I would definitely have to choose probably either the Raiders or Broncos. I do think the Raiders are gonna make some big moves too, so I don't think we're gonna be the odd man out, but let's just see what happens.
Let me go back on what I said real quick. I'm not gonna count the Raiders out here. Obviously, Russell Wilson just got traded. We don't know how he's gonna do in Denver. We can't just say, "Oh, they're gonna make the playoffs off the bat."
Right.
Some people believe Russell Wilson is washed or he's not going to be good anymore because obviously he kind of struggled last year. Some people believe that.
Yeah, well, they did have a tough season last year. They didn't do too great, but
I mean, he didn't start the whole season either. But
yeah, exactly.
when he was out there, it's not that he looked terrible. He's still a good quarterback. He's still top 15 no matter what in the league. But I mean, he didn't look like what Russell Wilson usually looks like.
Right.
I mean, you usually watch the Seahawks play and you're like, Russell Wilson's out here putting on a show. Whenever I was really watching the Seattle games this year, I'm not trying to say I wasn't interested in anything, but it shouldn't intrigue me as much as I feel like it used to with Russell Wilson on that team. But I mean, hopefully he can come into a new team and a new offense, and hopefully, I mean, he still got weapons to go throw to, and hopefully he can just make it work there.
Aaron Rodgers. We got to let you talk your shit.
Oh, I said this, that he was not going anywhere. I said that, and I stood by it because, 17 years for one team, and you just won back-to-back MVP. Just got a brand new coach that implemented the run game again to where that's giving you looks to play your game. So I was really stoked about, seeing him saying he's going to play for the Packers. That's all I want this offseason and last. I just wanted him to say he wants to be a Packer, and fortunately he didn't say those words exactly, but he did. He did say he is coming back. So hopefully we get that cap space figured out. We don't have to rebuild, and we get, we franchise tag Tay on top of that. So it's going to be a really fun season. Like I said, got to get that cap undergoing. He's going to be about a $40 million hit for this year.
Well,
so
I mean, this year he will.
Yeah.
But apparently the deal is 4 years. Apparently this deal isn't true. According to Rodgers, I don't know. This is weird, but apparently the deal was 4 years, $200 million, $153 million guaranteed, reported by Ian Rappaport. Pat McAfee was denying that on the Pat McAfee show today, and then Aaron Rodgers himself said the report about him signing a contract isn't true. We were all wrong about Rodgers going somewhere else. He is staying a Green Bay Packer. What does this mean for Jordan? I don't want to not talk about Aaron Rodgers, but I got to bring up Jordan Love because that just feels like a waste of a draft pick now, especially if the deal is 4 years. Rodgers will be in Green Bay for a long time. I don't know if Jordan Love's going to stick around for that long and never get an opportunity. What does this mean for Jordan Love?
I mean, I feel like they're either gonna trade him and get something. I mean, I feel like the highest thing they could get for him is a third round pick, in my opinion. they haven't had he hasn't had any time to show himself off. So I mean, there's no way I would, as a team, I would offer anything more than a 3rd round pick. Either they trade him now, or they just think they're going to sit on him, and then eventually he'll probably just become a free agent and try to go sign somewhere else, and hopefully do it like that. That's the 2 options I probably see for Jordan Love.
And who knows if Rodgers, in my opinion, stays all 4 years. Say he retires, whatnot. But
Right.
I could potentially see him stay all 4 years. But if I was Love, I mean, staying under a quarterback like Rodgers, I'm sure he's learned so much. You know what I mean?
for
yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, how long do you want to learn though?
That's true.
I mean, he's been
I mean,
2
well-
years. Is it 2 years now? He's been behind, or is it 1?
I think it's 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know how long you'd want to stick behind Aaron Rodgers until you want to get an opportunity yourself. This kind of reminds me of. Is it 2? It's
Yeah,
actually 2
because
Yeah,
he won back-to-back MVPs after they drafted
Oh
him.
yeah, okay, so
Yeah.
it is 2. So yeah, I mean, this will be his 3rd season coming in then.
Mhm,
Okay,
yep.
so I don't know how long you'd want to sit behind Aaron Rodgers. Eventually, the Packers could look to trade him because I feel like they could probably a desperate team. I guarantee you would trade for him.
Yeah,
if they need a quarterback, they guarantee they would
Yeah, I
trade
saw
for him.
something on Twitter about how they're saying that the highest that they could probably get for him is the 2nd round. But I mean, you look at the Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre situation. Aaron was behind Brett for 3 until he finally got the start, and he struggled a little bit off bat. But I mean, it depends on how long this contract is. I'm sure once it fully gets signed and everything gets done, Packers will post it, and then it'll be up to date, and everybody will know. But I see us keeping Jordan Love even after his rookie contract expires. It just really depends on the Aaron Rodgers situation. Because I mean, if he retires, if he stays, if his contract's up when he signs this new one, if he retires, it really just depends. But I could see us either trading him or even re-signing him after that rookie contract and keeping him for longer because he's sitting back there. He's relearning how to throw. He's throwing like Aaron in the practices. Like he is. I feel like he's gonna come out and he's gonna put on a show. So I'm nervous if we lose.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes for Jordan Love. This kind of reminds me of the Jimmy Garoppolo situation in New England where Tom Brady was always going to be the starter there, but Garoppolo was the young, promising QB behind Tom Brady. And then the good thing for Garoppolo, though, is he got to showcase that off when Tom Brady was suspended for 4 years. Jordan Love hasn't really. I mean, he had he has 1 start or 2 start, like 2 or 3, probably less than.
I think he has 2 starts.
Yeah, 2 starts. So he hasn't really got to showcase himself that much. I'm sure, though, like I said, I think a team would probably take a chance on Jordan Love if the Packers were willing to deal him because Aaron Rodgers is going to be there. If it's 4 years, we don't know because Rodgers said that's not true. Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter have been kind of wrong about reporting on Aaron Rodgers. They should probably just stop reporting on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
It feels like every time they say something, it's just wrong about him.
You gotta wait. You gotta wait for him to say it. don't trust the sources.
Let Rodgers be his own source. You know what I
Right,
mean?
exactly.
I mean, at this point, Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter should just be waiting for Pat McAfee to post something because I feel like Pat McAfee's a better source for
McAfee's
Aaron
a lot
Rodgers.
closer, obviously.
Yeah.
now. So you got Aaron Rodgers showing up on that show every Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Yep, every Tuesday.
With
didn't-
go ahead.
No.
Okay,
I
so
wasn't
with
saying anything important.
With Jordan Love, real quick, I don't know why a team or Packers would keep him for so long and then end up trading him. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like they should, sign him after his rookie contract just because
Right.
he's been there for so long. He knows the team. You know what I mean? Why get rid of him after?
He got drafted into this new offense.
Yeah.
So like the only scheme he's mainly learned in terms of NFL schemes is Matt LaFleur's scheme. So I mean, he could go somewhere else and flourish, but at the same time, with how reliant we are on the run game, you have a solid or decent quarterback in that situation, that's going to give them a really good chance to show what they're worth. So
That's all great for Green Bay, but if I'm Jordan Love, I don't want to sit back that long.
I mean, if you're sitting
I
behind,
don't want to waste my career that long.
If you're sitting behind a veteran quarterback like
maybe
Aaron
for 2 years,
Rodgers,
maybe for 2 years.
3 years max.
Max,
But
I
I
would say
feel like after that, because I mean, look at Patrick Mahomes. He sat under Alex Smith. Was it
like 1 year?
1 year?
Like 1 year.
And he went in there. I think 1 or 2 years is I think the most a player wants to sit. Because I mean, the person's going to the NFL. He doesn't want to just sit there. I mean, if they win a Super Bowl, Jordan Love's not sitting there I won the Super Bowl. I didn't even play a snap.
he'll get a ring.
Yeah,
he'll be happy with the ring.
He looks at the ring. He's like, I did nothing for this. But I mean, I think another thing too about Jordan Love, he could possibly stay there because I mean, I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers is going to start playing worse, but I mean, he's getting up there in age, and I mean, any hit or anything could put the
Any
team.
injury.
Yeah,
He
any
broke his
injury.
collarbone. Yeah, he could get hurt.
So I mean, I think having Jordan Love as a backup, is a good plan for them because I mean, obviously he had 2 back-to-back MVP years, so he's playing great. But I mean, that can change any second. You've seen a quarterback go from a star to nothing quick as hell, I guess.
Yeah.
We turn our attention to the other quarterback that's sought out by a lot of teams, Deshaun Watson. Probably the only quarterback left star quarterback. We obviously have the Jimmy Garoppolos of the world and stuff like that, but Deshaun Watson's going to be the most sought-out quarterback. Obviously, his situation's a little different with all the allegations going against him. Philadelphia, Washington, and then Carolina, all three teams sound like they're interested. So I'm really sad. I really wanted Russell Wilson for Washington. Obviously, we didn't get him. Denver. And we offered apparently a better package, but apparently the Seattle Seahawks wanted Wilson out of the conference, and Russell Wilson also wanted to be in Denver, but we already talked about that too much. So I really hope Washington gets Watson, but just real quick predictions. Who's getting Watson?
I still gotta stay with my pick that I have as my projection is Carolina Panthers. I mean, I feel like they were the team that showed the most interest very first. They were like one of the first besides the Dolphins. But then like I feel like the Dolphins one kind of died out because I mean they were like, do we really give up on Tua, do this? But I feel like Carolina Panthers are going to be the number one team that's going to go out and get him.
From those three teams, I did have the Steelers, but from the looks of it, I'm gonna rock with the Panthers as well. I just feel like it would be a better fit there.
If Washington doesn't get Deshaun Watson, it'll be terrible because
Mitchell Trubisky.
No.
Okay, well,
That'll mean losing McLaurin maybe because McLaurin's had 8 or 9 different quarterbacks thrown at him. It's just you gotta get. I mean, obviously you could draft a quarterback number 11 and hope it pans out. But if you want the first surefire thing, Watson is the way to go. I think Philadelphia has the biggest advantage of getting him though. If they want to pull the trigger, they obviously have Jalen Hurts. But literally, Eagles have 3 first-round picks from the Trey Lance trade. And they have Jalen Hurts, who's a young quarterback they could offer to Houston. So I think the Eagles have the edge. As a Washington fan, I'm hoping that doesn't happen because we'll just never win in that division if that's the case.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, I had also said the Steelers in our previous episode. And, I kind of started thinking about that. And, I don't really see them dishing him out to another AFC team. I don't see that happening. I could definitely see them throwing him over to the NFC. And I could definitely see with apparently what the package was that Washington had proposed for Russell. I could definitely see them giving that or even a greater deal for Watson, and then they could probably.
It'd probably have to be greater. I mean, Watson is 7 years. I think like 7 years younger than Russell Wilson.
Yeah, it would be a really good deal, but I definitely think it could be a potential win for both teams.
Yeah.
And with the way Washington's trying to go after quarterbacks, you said you guys offered a better package to
For Wilson.
Yeah, for Wilson.
Yeah.
So you'd assume you guys would go out there and pull the trigger for whatever you guys can get.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I mean, I at this point, if you're the Washington, I mean, I feel like you're not exactly in win now mode because you still do have a lot of young pieces. But I mean, at this point, you haven't seen a good quarterback in Washington in years. So
Since Kirk Cousins,
and I mean,
That
he's
says a
average
lot.
at best. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like at this point they got to go all out for a quarterback. I mean, yeah, you're still gonna have to wait for the news on Watson. I feel like I'm not trying to be that guy that's like, because obviously we don't know exactly on Watson, but I feel like you want to be a team offering early on Watson, just because if the news does come out that he is eligible and like will be able to play, I feel like there could be a lot more
his
teams.
market is going to go.
Yeah. I feel like there'd be multiple teams like outside those 3 that are like, hey, we could use an upgrade at quarterback. So I mean, I'm gonna throw in there
will
too.
come crazy.
And with Washington, like you said, your wide receiver Terry McLaurin, he's had 8 different quarterbacks.
8 or 9, I can't remember, but it's a terrible stat regardless.
Yeah. See, so like I mean, as a receiver, you wouldn't like to see that. 8 to 9 different quarterbacks. Would that make you want to stay there?
It ruins your development.
His extension is coming up, so we need to get something taken care of, or he ain't gonna even want to sign here. So
he's one of the big names on your guys' offense too. So.
Our best wide
biggest
receiver.
name, I think.
Biggest name.
Yeah.
We also need a wide receiver to take pressure off him. Samuel was supposed to be that guy. Obviously, wasn't healthy. But speaking of wide receivers, the Cowboys are expected to release Amari Cooper, which is kind of insane to think that Amari Cooper was going to be a free. I knew it was a possibility. Didn't expect the Dallas Cowboys to do that, but Amari Cooper is now a free agent. Who's going to get Amari Cooper, and what does this mean for Dallas? Obviously, I think Michael Gallup is definitely a Cowboy now.
I 100% think that Michael Gallup is a Cowboy now. Actually, a little interesting pick now since we just got the Aaron Rodgers news. Why not become a Packer? I mean, you go to a winning team. You're still going to be in the NFC playing in that division, which, I mean, definitely now, especially, like, I already thought the AFC had better quarterbacks just overall and, like, just better teams. But especially now with Russell going over there, there's no way you're going to change my mind and tell me that the AFC is not 100 times better than the NFC. So, I mean, why not? I mean, you're in the NFC. You could actually.
Just depends what Amari Cooper wants.
I haven't heard anything.
I don't know
about
if you
Cooper
guan
going
can
to Green
sign
Bay.
a big.
No. I'm not saying there's any rumors on it. I'm just saying, like,
That's
in
what you
general,
think.
like that's a team that I could think he'd go to. I mean,
if they can afford him.
I think
if they can afford him.
I don't know what Amari
he'll be
Cooper will
too much.
demand.
Because
I
his
think
market
it'll be
was
too
high
much.
with Dallas. What
I
was
mean,
it?
so when he signed with Dallas, Washington offered him more money, but he decided to sign with Dallas. His cap hit was $20 million this year. Big wide receiver got paid big money. I don't know if he'll get paid that much money, but
I can see him looking for that though.
like 12 mil plus, maybe even more than that.
I'm thinking 15 mil
Yeah, I was
plus.
about to say 15 mil.
That's
Nice.
fair too. Anything like that is probably going to be Amari Cooper's market. Jacksonville's wide receiver needy. Well, I mean they have Marvin Jones, but
I see the Raiders.
Raiders.
Yeah,
You want to go back
Raiders.
I don't think he's
AC/DC connection coming back?
I don't think.
I could see him going back.
I think honestly, if I was the Raiders right now, especially after Adams getting franchise tag, and you know that. I mean, I was still kind of iffy on it just because I feel like the Raiders are definitely like a good team, and we made the playoffs last year. But I feel like we need a lot more, and like signing Devontae Adams for like 25 mil plus just seems like a lot for like what we need. So I think honestly we go out and get DJ Chark. I really don't want Amari. It's not that I have anything against
You
Amari.
hate Amari Cooper, don't
Huh?
I? You just hate him.
I don't hate him.
How do you not want Amari Cooper?
Because that dude, I'm sorry. Listen, everyone, I was the hugest fan of Amari Cooper, okay? That dude was a stud, then all of a sudden he's just dropping passes like it's nothing. Like, and I mean, it's not like we have a different quarterback or something. He's still getting thrown to by the same guy. So I mean, I just don't want Amari. Nothing against him. I'm not saying he can't go to a team and do good because he is definitely a good wide receiver. But after what I've seen as a Raider fan, I don't hate the dude. I just don't want to see him in the all black again. I'm sorry, I just can't.
Maybe he goes to the Baltimore Ravens. They need a wide
Not
receiver.
happening. We got Bateman. We got Hollywood. We're set.
Yeah. So you guys set a wide
Mark
receiver now.
Andrews, too.
But he could also, one thing that we didn't think about, I mean, he could just pull a Kenny Galladay, go get his bag. I mean, I'm sure like a team like you got the Dolphins or like the Chargers. I mean,
Or the Patriots. Apparently the
Chargers
Patriots have been in the market for a wide receiver too.
Oh yeah, they need one bad. I mean, they overpaid Nelson Aguilar, all that.
It's,
So I mean,
it's really up in the air. With
Cooper
him.
had his
I mean,
bag though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He did have his
did.
bag. So I mean, it'll depend where if he wants to go win immediately, or I mean, there's some teams that will probably be able to offer him the win now and a bag. We'll see how that goes. Von Miller posting a cryptic photo about possibly going back to Denver, saying, "Wonder if they'll give me my old locker back." Honestly, I thought Von Miller was a lock to go back to the Rams, but it sounds like it's not. He could go back to Denver, which is something we usually don't see. We don't see teams trade players and then they go back. I mean, sometimes it happens, but rarely do I see it happen. Last time I've noticed that is Washington actually traded Kendall Fuller for Alex Smith, and then when Kendall Fuller became a free agent, he signed with Washington, but that was a couple years after. This is immediately following. Is Von Miller going to be a Bronco, or I think he's staying with the Rams. I think he's just trolling a little bit. I've also heard the Packers are interested.
Packers are,
so.
I guess.
Well,
interested.
real quick, you said that he was trolling. I did see another video of him saying that I'm not trolling you guys.
Really? Okay, I didn't
was
see that.
posted. And I could see him going back to the Broncos. They just got a new quarterback. You know what I mean?
Especially with that now.
But like, think about it like that too. He was saying that before Russ was like he even knew Russ was gonna be there. Now that Russ is there, like I mean, he's got to think you like, man, this is the first quarterback we've had in years. I mean, we can do it run. And plus, like, I mean, like the Packers and the Rams, I know isn't their cap space kind of like hit or miss on both of them.
Oh yeah.
So like that may be another reason why he wants to go back to Denver, just because he knows he can get it back there. Plus, I mean, obviously he lived there for years, so I'm sure he loved living there because I mean he was there forever.
Yeah.
Well, even if they can't sign him a big deal, I'm sure he'll go back on a friendly deal. I mean, it's his old team. You know what I mean?
He loved
the new
playing there.
quarterback. Yeah, exactly.
The only way I see him going to Green Bay, they're talking about possibly releasing Zadarius, and that will free up. I think it said like $15 million in cap. So I mean, if they do that, and we get under cap space and we get an opportunity, I think we should pull the trigger on that.
For sure.
We're talking about extending Preston Smith on top of that, and we have Rashaan Gary, who honestly I think that dude's a freaking beast. He's young, he's going up in development. Even Z and Preston both said that this guy is something special. So
He's an 89 overall Madden, so that tells you what you need to know.
Madden adjusters, come on now. But I mean, I could definitely see him going back to the Broncos. If not, Packers could shoot their shot, but at the same time, the cap space is still a huge issue. So I mean, I can't see us signing any big guy names unless we get contracts figured out.
And I feel like he just wants to, I mean, if he really wants to go back home, then I'm sure the Broncos, like, I mean, imagine being the Broncos and not taking back Von Miller.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, you would.
He was really he's probably like one of the, if not the best player you've had on your team for years. So
Right.
I think they would definitely take him back. I feel like it just depends on what he wants to do. There would be multiple teams that will would offer him a bag to come play with him.
Right, yeah.
He's in a good position that is a position of need on multiple teams. So like, I can see him if he just wants to go back for another Super Bowl, maybe go back to the Rams. But I mean, if you want to get a bag, I mean, you gotta open up your doors to a lot more than just the Rams, Packers, and maybe the Broncos. I mean, there's teams out there that will pay you a bag and you'll make a great fit and a great addition to that team. So
Yeah.
Rams won't be too hurt if Von Miller leaves. I mean, they got what they needed. They got the Super Bowl, so But I just remember, I feel like Aaron Donald was about to retire for some reason, which was kind of crazy to think about. But he said he would run it back if Von Miller and Odell were coming back. I wonder if that's something that was actually true. So if Von Miller doesn't come back, that will be interesting. I'm sure Aaron Donald's not going to be like, oh, they didn't come back, I'm retiring then. But
I think Odell's coming back for sure.
Odell,
Yeah,
I mean,
that too.
Odell had first time he's tasted success in so long since the Giants, obviously. Cleveland was a mess. It just never worked out there. So Odell, I think, is for sure a Ram.
Team looked great on paper for the Browns, but it
Never-
with
it never
Baker,
worked out.
it wasn't panning out
Oh, do you remember
that
when
way.
I remember when they signed Odell too, like the Browns? I was like, dude, this is actually like I was
Traded?
like, this team could go somewhere. And
Traded for Odell?
all right, traded.
Yeah.
Sorry, traded for Odell. When they traded for Odell, I was like, dude, they could actually do something. But Baker Mayfield and Odell just never had that connection that they needed. But obviously, Odell doesn't got the connection like Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp does. But they definitely have a great connection, and it's definitely the best quarterback play he's had in a while. So,
Skylar, didn't you say Odell had more passing yards than Baker Mayfield?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Calvin Ridley. This news was crazy. This came out of nowhere. Suspended for a year for gambling on games while he was away from the team. I have so much to say about this whole thing. This is gonna be a little political in a way. Kind of. It might turn into that, but Calvin Ridley was away from the team betting on games, which is just kind of weird to think about because the whole reason why he was away was because of personal reasons. So what was actually happening? This is crazy. It's just It was shocking to see Ridley was going to be traded this offseason and now probably won't have any takers, obviously. Is this too harsh of a punishment, though?
I have to say it is. I think I saw on his Twitter that he said it was $1,500, which I'm not saying that's a lot. I mean, obviously for an NFL player, you would think that's not that much. But I mean, for like a regular fan that bets on games, you're like, dang, he betted $1,500. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But I think it's too big of a punishment just because how NFL handles other situations. I get that it's definitely not okay to be betting on NFL games, especially when you play in the NFL. I mean, if you're gonna do it, at least like have one of your buddies do it. You know, do something. Be smart about it. But I feel like there's players that do 10,000 times worse things. Like I saw a tweet. I don't remember. It was not like a good source or anything. There's some random tweet that some guy made. It was like talking about all these players that like abuse their wives and stuff. They were getting 2-game suspension and stuff. They're out for 2 games and they beat their wife. But then you got Calvin Ridley bet $1,500. That man's banned for a whole year. So
the tweet that I saw about the $1,500, I think he said that I'll bet somebody $1,500 I don't have a gambling problem
Yeah,
or
that's what he
something like
said.
that. He could have put more than $1,500 into that.
He sent a lot of tweets out, which is weird because
and he
usually
deleted a lot too.
Usually when a player, I don't think he actually deleted. I think that was just Twitter messing up. Which
I heard it was deleted.
Well, I don't know. Regardless, he was sending hella tweets out, which is usually uncommon. Players usually are quiet once crazy stuff like this happens. But he was going on Twitter to defend himself. Fans were saying, "Please stop tweeting." He apparently said he only gambled $1,500. Doesn't have a gambling problem. He's gonna only be healthier when he comes back. It's just still not a great look for you because you were away from the team for personal reasons. Which we still don't know what those personal reasons were. Not to say that just because you're away doesn't mean you can't have fun or whatever, but gambling is against the rules in the NFL. It is too harsh of a punishment though compared to what we've
Domestic
seen.
violence charges,
Violence
and
and
stuff
stuff
like
like
that.
that.
It's terrible. I mean, if you really he wasn't the difference I see, which is crazy to me, is that he wasn't playing in the games. He wasn't with the team at practices. He wasn't any of that. He was off dealing with his own stuff, away from the team. No impact to the team whatsoever. If he was playing and betting on the games, I see that as a huge problem. That's some Paul Cruz stuff right there, But he wasn't doing that, So I think the year was a little bit too much, especially with, the DV charges that come on to Rice and all those incidents that happen. It's terrible. Like, you should definitely get a longer suspension for domestic violence rather than
Gambling. For sure.
Yeah.
And see, sorry, I was on my phone. I had to double check because I wanted to make sure because you said you thought you saw that he would bet $1,500 about that he had a gambling issue, but he did say that he only bet $1,500 and that he does not have a gambling issue.
Oh,
so I just wanted to clarify because I thought so, but then when you said that, I was like, I might have read it wrong, but I just wanted to double check to make sure that we're talking about the right thing. Yeah, I mean, like they were saying, some punishments I feel like are just getting mistreated. Like There's things you can do 10 times worse that
are getting
more
less.
Yeah, that are getting less.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he did not deserve a punishment because it is not fair for you to be betting on NFL games, especially when you play in there.
Obviously, like they said, a year is kind of long. Just for gambling, like they said already, there's been charges worse, and people didn't get a year ban like he did. But it's not right that he did it, but still, 1 year is way too long.
I wonder if this changes anything for the Falcons' direction, because obviously the coach, which I'm blanking on his name for some reason, but regardless, they are sticking with Matt Ryan. But with Calvin Ridley gone, should this change their direction on Matt Ryan? I don't think they can trade him. His cap hit is like.
I don't think it affects him at all.
I mean,
he does. He loses Ridley, but at the same time, and he lost Julio. But they're gonna have to get him some weapons in that spot. I mean, he's been kind of flaky, but
he's inconsistent.
He is.
Really?
He's
getting old.
Right.
So.
I'm sorry, but I just don't see the Falcons doing anything as long as they have Matt Ryan under quarterback.
I don't think so. I just wanted to bring it up.
No. It's 100. Like, I'm not saying that Matt Ryan's not a good quarterback, because I mean he's proven he was a good quarterback over the years. But I think with that team, I think he just needs to go to a win now team, a team that actually has like something built around. The Falcons are missing so much. They have looked so terrible ever since that Super Bowl L. It's just been downhill for the Falcons. So
true that.
Cordell Patterson was good for them. They obviously have Kyle Pitts, but I think
they have promising young pieces,
they do.
But they just need a lot more. Like defenses, in my opinion, the Falcons' defense has been terrible for years, and that they need to fix that ASAP.
Greedy, they have what?
I said for sure, no, their defense isn't the greatest.
AJ Terrell on the other side, then they have Deion Jones in the middle. But yeah, the Falcons will be interesting. This hurts them badly with Calvin Ridley being gone. They could have used him badly with, like I said, they traded Julio to the Titans. Julio didn't look good on the Titans, by the way, but that's not the point.
I mean, he was hurt quite a bit. But,
he was. Yeah, we'll say that. But yeah, this definitely hurts the Falcons' direction. I think they should be looking for a quarterback in the draft to eventually take over from Matt Ryan. But Matt Ryan's cap hit apparently is like over $40 million this year, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's
I was seeing somebody. I was like listening to a video, and someone was suggesting that Washington should go get Matt Ryan. And I was just like, no. That is too much money to take on. I mean, if this was maybe a few years ago when didn't Matt Ryan win an MVP when they won the Super Bowl or went to the Super Bowl, I think?
I don't know if it was that Super Bowl year, but I did win MVP one year.
Okay, so maybe back then it would have been cool, but now, no, thank you. I can't do it. I can't do that.
I feel like the only team that would actually go, or anybody that would only go for Matt Ryan is a team, like if he's a free agent. No one's taking on that big contract that the Falcons are going to sign him for. I mean, especially with how he's been performing under center with them. I mean, it's not to say that they don't have good pieces around them, because they do. But I mean, just what you've seen, there's no way I'm paying that dude $40 million a year to be under center on my team.
Yeah, right.
No,
Has Mike Williams set the wide receiver market? 3 years, $60 million extension.
This is like a Nelson Aguilar last year when he set the wide receiver market. What, Corey Davis didn't get paid that? Marvin Jones didn't get paid that? Nelson Aguilar got what, 15 mil?
No, 12. He got 2 year, 12 mil. And literally the year before that.
I think it was more than that, right? 2 year, 12 million means $6 million per year. He got way more.
No. 2 year, 12 million, like
per year.
And he got 24 million total.
Yeah, okay.
My bad.
No, you're good.
Yeah,
he got
24. He got 24 million 12 year guaranteed for 2 years. He didn't perform under them. I mean, it was kind of obvious. When I saw that signing, I didn't have any trust in Mac Jones. Like, he's kind of like a Tom Brady, where like he doesn't have really like a crazy big arm like Nelson Aguilar needs. Nelson Aguilar needs a guy that can throw it down the field, and because that's all he's just a speedster. We were paying him $1 million a year, and then he goes out and gets a $12 million contract. I mean, that was just ridiculous. I told all the Patriots fans that I know that you guys are overpaying this dude. He needs a quarterback that has a huge arm. If he's not playing with a quarterback with a huge arm, he's not making plays. Every play that he made with us was like almost over 20 yards, like 20, 30 yards. He wasn't making any short routes and like first downs for us. Like, he was either getting like a touchdown or like nothing with us.
Nelson Aguilar was actually catching passes with you guys, though, unlike Philadelphia.
Yeah, true that.
Eagles fans hate Nelson.
My gosh, that interview with that one guy.
That went viral.
Babies.
Now with Mike Williams and Nelson Aguilar, those are two different wide receivers. I believe Mike Williams is a dog when he's healthy. So if he was healthy all the time, that money is worth it, in my opinion. But comparing Nelson Aguilar and them two together, it's
$28 million in year one. That's a lot.
The only thing I'm worried about that is that he's not even the number one.
Yeah,
They still got Keenan Allen. So the fact that you're going to pay your second string wide receiver, I mean, don't get me wrong.
You need two wide receivers, but that is a lot to spend.
It is a lot for your second string wide receiver. Like, I think that it's really going to get figured out on how much wide receivers are worth is when Tate gets his. Because, I mean, we saw how much DeAndre Hopkins got in his contract. He got paid.
And that was when he was worth it, too.
He deserved it. Yeah, he's really good. And I think that whenever it comes to – but it's also a cap situation. I mean, you can pay these guys $25+ million a year, but paying that for two wide receivers, I mean, on top of all the other pieces that you have to pay, it's going to kill the cap. Like, they're going to have to raise the cap.
Look at the Cowboys. They had to get rid of Amari Cooper. It's just too much money.
I did forget it was $28 million the first year. That's quite a bit.
$28 million a year.
And I'm not sure exactly how much Keenan Allen is making right now. I could guarantee you it's under $20 million, especially with how the wide receivers were getting paid. And, like, the Chargers, like I was talking about earlier, do have like the highest cap space in the league, but I'm not paying $20 million for Mike Williams. I'm not saying that everyone knew that he was a good wide receiver, but I mean, he was doing hot for a little bit and then kind of just died down, and Keenan Allen went back to taking over and being the dominant number one. If Mike Williams performed like that all year, like he was at the beginning of the season, where he was going off.
He was crazy in fantasy.
Like if he was doing that all year long, that would be different, and me paying $20 million. But there was a time where, like, I literally told Brady, like, fantasy, and during the fantasy, I was like, Mike Williams is going to drop off, and Keenan Allen's going to go back to the number one. And what happened? Mike Williams, he didn't drop off. Like, he's not terrible, but Keenan Allen went back to taking that number one role and doing that.
We do got to understand, though, he's not the only guy on the field. They got Eckler, they got Allen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they got a lot of weapons.
And on top of that, you got to think about, like, okay, so that's how much money he got. But in terms of how much he's worth, it might not be the same to everybody else, but in terms of the team looking at him, they looked at him and thought, this man deserves this money. We have the cap space to make this move. Let's pay this man, bring him back. That gives Herbert another weapon.
I'm just looking at it because I know guys like DK and Terry are going to be free agents soon. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how much those guys get paid, because I don't know if I would argue that those two are better than Mike Williams.
No, not even close.
Yeah, I was about to say, I would think those two are better than Mike Williams. So, wide receivers look like they're about to get paid like quarterbacks used to get paid, it seems like.
Did you say Metcalf and who else?
DK and Terry.
Mike Williams is up there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Mike Williams is
we're not saying that Mike Williams is a bad wide receiver, but I mean, I'm 100% pitting Terry over him, and then DK. I mean,
DK would be number one if it wasn't for Lockett.
But put Mike Williams in the same situation as them. Well, not DK, but as McLaurin, as just the number one on the team at all times.
They didn't have Keenan. Mike's hands down number one.
Yeah, he's going to put up numbers for sure.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And it really just depends. I think whenever it came to the consistency of Mike Williams, it was really the defenses that were playing him. So when Mike Williams was going off, Keenan was quiet. And then when Keenan started going off, Mike was quiet. So I think it was the defense realizing, hey, we have to get one of these guys, and we're going to take the hotter guy, and we're going to make sure he's guarded heavily so that we don't let those big plays go down. But then you look across on the other side of the field, you got Keenan Allen over there chilling on 1v1s. I mean, you're going to take that every day.
Christian McCaffrey apparently is getting, or the Panthers are getting multiple calls about Christian McCaffrey. So looks like the Panthers may end up trading McCaffrey. That's going to be kind of interesting to see what team wants to get CMC. Why are you shaking your head over there?
I don't even know what you offer the dude. Like I literally don't even know. Like I mean, I get if he was healthy. I mean, definitely. Like I could see. I mean, he's the best running back in the league when healthy. So I mean, 2 firsts maybe. But I mean, with his injuries and all that, I just don't even know you can trust him. It's like with Barkley. Like I don't know what you would offer any of those dudes that can't stay healthy. I don't want to give up 2 first rounds, or like even I wouldn't even know if I'd give up a first for CMC. That's how scared of I am if I was a team to give him a first, because like I don't know, because like if I give up a first and then he's not healthy, I could have just drafted a running back that can at least, if he's healthy,
or multiple firsts.
Yeah,
like you could build up off that.
Apparently they are looking for a first from McCaffrey, which I mean I understand why they're looking for it. It just depends whether a team will give that up. Because when McCaffrey is healthy, one of the better running backs in the league, obviously, he is a dual threat. Can catch, can probably line him up a wide receiver if you need to. The man's a stud. The problem is he can't stay healthy. I don't know what team would get him. I still stand by. Maybe if the Panthers do get Watson, maybe the Texans would want McCaffrey in return. I still think that could be something, but I don't know what other team. I obviously can't think of the top of my head what other teams need running backs like that, but I don't know what team would be desperate enough to give up a first for a running back that just can't stay healthy.
I think it just comes to being desperate. If you're a team that needs a running back, go ahead and do it. Why risk a draft pick on knowing that running back might not be good?
Yeah, but remember what I was talking about? That I feel like you can find running backs off the street nowadays. If they have a good O line and you put them back there, and like they can get it done. So like that's another thing too. It's just like there's certain running backs that are for sure worth first round picks. Like if you were to trade for them and stuff. But it's just the fact that like you can easily find like a solid running back. Like every running back that people have been talking about that has been solid in these last year's draft. Like they're solid. Like they do what they need to do. I mean, there hasn't been like one running back where the people draft you like, oh, dude, he is terrible. Like why? How you started him? I mean, there's running backs everywhere. Every team. I mean, you want 2 solid running backs. So I mean, maybe a team does offer a first for CMC. I can see that Texans being part of the trade.
That'd be a reasonable trade.
It would be a swap that obviously wouldn't just be a swap, but it would be. Those 2 players in the trade would make sense because obviously
upside would be huge.
The upside for McCaffrey is huge
because he's still young. The Texans, I mean, that's still a player you can definitely build your team around. And I mean, he is definitely better than Rex Burkhead. And
yeah, Rex Burkhead.
Well, that's the thing with CMC. He's proven himself. It's just the thing, can he stay healthy?
That's the question.
That's the risk they got to take. You know what I mean?
Huge upside, but if you give away all those picks and you get him and he gets hurt again. Wasted.
That's why you got to negotiate. You give him 1 first. I don't think it hurt. I mean, obviously, it might hurt you if you can't stay healthy. But if you can,
if I was a team this year, maybe I give him a first, but not this year's draft.
Even with his health history, I could see him going for 2 firsts.
Yeah,
100%. I could still see a team going after him and doing that because
I don't know if I can get on that.
Maybe 2 firsts because they just got Russell for 2 firsts.
Maybe one. Not. I can't get behind 2. I just don't think a team would be desperate enough to give up 2 firsts for a running back.
But I don't see him
going 1 first in a player trade.
I can't even think of a running back who's been traded in the past and what his. I can't even think of the last running back that was traded. And maybe there's one obvious one.
So easy to grab.
I know.
That's why they don't need
to. Can't think of one.
I mean, Le'Veon.
None of you guys have a running back.
I can't think of one.
Wasn't Le'Veon FA?
Yeah, it's free agency because Steelers.
But he held out technically.
Yeah. There's no one I can really think of at the top of my head. Maybe there's one obvious I just can't think of. But franchise tag deadline was today. We'll end off with this. So I'll just kind of read off, and then you guys can tell me what maybe stands out to you guys. So Jesse Bates tagged by the Bengals, Orlando Brown tagged by the Chiefs, David Njoku tagged by the Browns, Chris Godwin tagged by the Bucks, Mike Gesicki tagged by the Dolphins, and then another tight end, Dalton Schultz, getting tagged by the Cowboys. Left tackle Cam Robinson tagged by the Jaguars. And then Devontae Adams, of course, tagged for Green Bay.
Let's go!
It wouldn't have made sense to obviously sign Aaron Rodgers and then lose Adams. It would have made no sense.
Oh my gosh, I've been so.
I feel like Aaron Rodgers knew that Adams was coming back before he signed. Like for
sure. Yeah. That was part of the contract. There's no way you're not.
Well, he was gonna let everybody know before that happened, just so because I don't think they wanted to lose. If they were gonna lose Rodgers, it was a possibility that Tay would have walked too because the chemistry between them two, it's insane. It's crazy. Like you could have a corner, a slot, and a safety on Adams. Rodgers will fit it into that pocket, and then the nice, beautiful dime pass right into his chest. It's beautiful.
All right, chill out.
So I guess I'm gonna start with the one that stands out most to me. I guess because obviously, I mean, when I saw that Rodgers signing today, I knew that Devontae was going to get tagged. So, I mean, that's not really a big surprise to me, obviously.
The Raiders' dreams have been crushed.
Yeah, no, you want
you
He's getting traded still. Relax.
He still has his home in Las Vegas, okay? So,
yeah, we were going to talk about Adams buying real estate in Vegas, but apparently it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah,
he might not come play for you guys, but he'll come watch the game.
Yeah. He'll come hang out with Derek Carr.
Yeah, I'll come hang out with Derek Carr. He probably bought a home next to him.
There's still a chance. I mean, I guess last year when they were trying to get contract talks with him, he ended it angrily. He wasn't happy with what they were offering. And whenever he had talked to James Jones in the interview, he was asking for $30 million. And James Jones was like, why don't we get you 35? And he was like, that's still not that much.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy how much
35.
he wants. He wants a lot of money. And the only way to do that is to make the cap.
I'm sorry.
Pay this man.
I'm
get the cap under control.
I told Brady when I was texting him one day, I was like, bro, if I was like 30 mil max, I'm sorry, but because I'm not gonna be paying Devontae Adams like 35 million, and then that's what Carr's about to be getting paid. I'm not gonna pay the exact same price for my quarterback and my wide receiver. I did want Adams, don't get me wrong, but let me go back to the main topic we were talking about. Chris Godwin is the most interesting one to me.
I think this is the second time he's been tagged too. I could be wrong.
Crazy. I think he would not be happy.
I feel like I want to get paid. Yeah, I feel like I would not be happy with that either. especially after Tom Brady announced his retirement. I mean, there have been those things where Bruce Arians is like, "Oh, well, I'm not going to let him go to another team. So if he comes back, he's playing for us." But I mean, they lost AB. Obviously, if Tom Brady's not coming back, I do not see Gronk coming back. Unfortunately, I mean, he hasn't retired or said that he's not coming back yet. But I don't see Gronk coming back either. So I kind of feel bad for Chris Godwin unless they get like a stud quarterback somehow.
Jimmy Garoppolo, they're getting him.
That's not a stud quarterback.
Godwin may have lost. Godwin may have lost a little bit of leverage with the injury this year. Maybe, but I would still think that you'd pay Godwin. But maybe this is another year where Godwin can prove himself. I didn't really talk about the 3 players that didn't get tagged. Obviously, Carlton Davis from the Bucs didn't get tagged because they used it on Godwin. They were looking to lock Godwin up long term, didn't come to an agreement. Harold Landry didn't get tagged from the Dolphins. And then the most standout one is the Patriots didn't tag J.C. Jackson, which was a very good corner this year. So he hits the open market. And it looks like J.C. Jackson is going somewhere else. But maybe Dolphins can salvage that, or not Dolphins, Patriots can salvage that relationship because Jackson has been kind of unhappy.
No, they're not fixing that. J.C. Jackson has already spoke out, and he's just saying that he did not like how he was getting treated there. He said that he deserves his bag, and that the fact that the team wasn't really talking about giving him his bag. I mean, he doesn't want to go there. I mean, why fight with a team to get your bag when you know you're one of the best cornerbacks in the league and you can go get a bag anywhere else?
I don't really like when players go after the bag. I mean, I totally understand.
Okay,
hear me out. Okay, I think they deserve it. Don't get me wrong. They are some of, obviously, the best football players we have seen ever. A lot of these players are, and they deserve high-paying money. At the same time,
the disrespect to the Canadian Football League.
It's money or it's championship. You continuously pay players that are all-star players, that are really good players. You continuously pay them high-paying money. You give them the money that they want. That you slack on what you can grab after that. So, like, let's say when Le'Veon did go to the Jets. When he did go to the Jets. It was a good move. He got his bag, but at the same time,
he sucked.
Did it last?
He sucked.
It didn't last though. He couldn't be the whole freaking.
It kind of depends where you go.
Exactly. The majority of the big bag givers are teams that don't have a lot of players.
Hold on. I think longevity for the players. You know, football's not forever. You don't get to do this for your whole life.
Especially,
You know
it's one of the most injuries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
And like what you're saying too, like I'm sorry to cut you off, Jared, but like just talking about like the bag thing, and you're like, oh, well, what about Super Bowls? Only one team wins a Super Bowl a year, so
yeah, you're
I
right.
mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, look at the Packers. You have Devontae Adams, about to pay him $30 million, and you guys ain't going to the Super Bowl every year. So at least Devontae Adams wants his bag because he's like, if we ain't winning championships, at least I got $35 million coming in.
It's something you got to risk though, in terms of wanting the bag. Like you have to be able to take a small pay cut in certain terms to keep good teams. I mean. Look at the Rams, like with how much Odell went over there for, and how much of the contract that he accepted from the Rams. You gotta say he chased the bag by going to the Rams.
But
that was in mid-season too. Usually teams don't
have a very accurate quarterback and a quarterback that was struggling.
But usually mid-season you're not getting the bag. Usually mid-season you're gonna get a 1-year prove-it deal. That's what happens when you get cut.
Do you think he's gonna get the bag this year? Though?
I don't think so. I don't think he'll get a bag.
I can see him getting like 12, 13 mil.
Oh, I honestly think Odell's not even going to care about getting paid. He always wanted to play successful football for a good quarterback, and he got to that situation.
He wanted a winning culture.
And there he is. I think he's going to stay with the Rams regardless of what they offer.
Yeah, for sure.
Real quick, I'm going to go back to what I was saying. So, for the players, I think it's longevity. If I was a player, I'm not really worried. I mean, I'd be worried about winning Super Bowls. But in the end, I got to think about my family and shit after football. You know what I mean?
I understand that. Yeah, I understand that. It's a lot of money, though. Yeah, even for contracts or even for players that aren't getting a bag.
Still, you see a lot of NBA players, not that this is football, but a lot of them do go broke after,
I mean, it's all about your investments after
you
get in the league. You know, you make good investments. You mess around in the stock market. You can triple your money off of what you put in. You know, it just depends on what you do with that money. If you go out, buy fancy cars, big houses.
But that's what every player does.
That's because they can. That's because they can. Because how much money they're getting. They can go out and buy a $700,000 house, and they'll still be good for years to come.
$7,000 house.
$700,000 house. Damn near $1 million.
Just be smart like Kenny Galladay. Go get the bag and chill. Get the bag and chill,
Go get the bag and don't worry about anything else.
Yeah, hey, you get it early off season too. You get to go relax. And you still get the bag.
Today we were supposed to talk about free agency predictions. We're not gonna even get to that. There was just too much that happened today. It's too much going on. But next week, when we record on Tuesday, Monday, I think, is when the tampering period starts. So we're going to already know where a couple free agents go. So we're never going to get to free agency predictions, which I'm sad about. You wrote paragraphs about your players.
Yeah, I did. I was pretty upset about that, but hopefully we get to that next video. I did want to say one thing about the person that was franchise tagged that I did have, which is Orlando Brown, which I thought that was pretty important just because they brought him in from us when we traded them. I think he's a hell of a left tackle, and I'm glad the Chiefs kept him because I want to see that guy get paid because he does his thing on the field.
Well, next week we'll be back same time as usual, and we'll be talking about whatever deals go down on Monday, and then whatever deals go on before, or whatever deals we go down before we start recording. So thank you guys for listening. This is In the Slant, and we're saying peace.